Yes, everybody. Welcome in to episode 126 of the Dumb Marks podcast. It's your boys back at it again. Your favorite Saturday brunch bunch, kicking it as we do each and every single Saturday live at 11 a.m. Gentlemen, how are we today? Jay, see? You didn't wave back. That was you this week at work, right? You waved to somebody that thought was waving to you, but they weren't.
That's why I don't wave. So I don't talk to people.
Yeah, I saw that and I busted out laughing. I used to have a buddy of mine growing up. We'd be out in the car driving, right? And he'd be driving down the street and he'd just roll down his window, beep, and yell at somebody like, "Hey, Tom," and keep on driving. And then see somebody else, "Yo, Frank," and wave and keep on going. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, he's like, "Oh," he goes, the entire rest of their day, they're going to wonder, who was that waved at me? Why did they wave at me? And why did they call me Tom? I'm like, you're such an asshole. Like, that is such an asshole move. He's
Michael
like,
does the same thing.
He's like, and if I get their name right by some chance, like just random chance of all chances that I get their name right, then they're really going to sit there and think, who was that called? I swear I know them from somewhere. I'm like, dude, that's such a dick move. It's unbelievable. But hey, whatever floats your boat, right? That's some innocent fun that you can have.
I said to my uncle last night, I was like, the day that you actually go senile, we're not going to know the difference.
Yeah. So I'm the dumb mark that wore a green St. Patrick's Day shirt with a green screen background. Everybody here in Pittsburgh is out and about. They've been drinking for about 5 hours now in the St. Patrick's Day festivities.
Steve, did you go for the 7 a.m. Irish Car Bomb Club?
No, I did not. I'm over the kegs and eggs and 7 a.m. Irish Car Bomb Club. I can't do it no more. I was sitting here thinking this morning, like whenever I woke up, I'm like, at what age did I just go, yep, no, not for me no more. Not for me no more. Like
a long time ago for me.
Early on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I was like probably around like 25, 26, and people would be like, well, yo, you're lame. You're in your mid-20s. What do you mean? I'm like, well, I was doing this shit whenever I was 15 years old. Like,
true.
I'd already 10 years in the league at that time. Like,
I got in early and left.
Yeah, my jersey was retired in the rafters. Like, I didn't need to prove nothing no more.
I got in late and left early. I remember the time when whenever I called it quits, I went down to a friend's birthday party down South Side. 15 minutes later, I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I just left and went home. And I was like,
I'm Irish goodbye.
I was like, I'm done. Yeah, I didn't tell nobody bye or nothing like that. I just left.
Yeah, those are very long days. Green beer, yards of beer. Like I can't. Nope, no thank you. And Pittsburgh's the number 2 ranked city for St. Patrick's Day festivities.
Number 2 or 3.
Yeah, I know, like Boston and Chicago.
Yeah.
So which is surprising, but I mean, hey, I'll top the flag.
Shame.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not till Friday, so it's okay.
Yeah, you can wear your green on St. Patrick's Day. That's my mom's birthday, so early shout out to Mama Steve's birthday.
Happy birthday!
Yeah. So
should bring Snuggy Jesus back next week.
All right. Anything else we want to briefly touch on? There, I know we got a jam-packed week. Mount Rushmore's coming. I'm really curious to see what you guys have for this week, if anything at all. Truth be told, I did fall asleep midway through Rampage last night. Not because the show was boring, just because I have not slept in probably 2 weeks. Like, I don't know what's going on. I got to get it figured out. But my body finally just shut down and I crashed. I crashed sitting up on the couch with my neck like this. I woke up.
That's that old age.
That old man crash. But I did get caught up this morning. So we're good there. But with that being said, if nobody got anything else, let's hop into Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. I think very solid week in professional wrestling across the board. Going from the pay-per-view on Sunday all the way through last night. I would say it was a good week for all promotions and brands, considering what's going on and being on the road to WrestleMania. Get your guys
on the road to WrestleMania.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. There's a sidebar there, but I won't bring it up right now because I'm going to wait another week or two until it's finalized to actually bring it up and talk about it to get your guys' thoughts, because it's a bigger debate question at that point. So little tease for future podcasts down the road here. But with that being said, who wants to kick it off?
I'll go
first.
I watched everything this week. It was actually hard for me to even come up with 4. I mean, I watched everything.
To come up with 4.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I think I had 3. I don't even think I had 4. Gotta change it up, Ty. Gotta change it up.
We know where all the podcast money's going to.
Yeah.
Steve, if you want to kick it off, go ahead.
So Jason has on Sasha and Bailey, and it is International Women's Month, celebration of women across the board all this month of March. And with that, my Mount Rushmore this week is Willow and Athena from ROH. Arguably one of the best matches of the week. I loved everything about it. It was your true babyface heel dynamic. They were physical. Athena has been great since her heel turn. I just wish she would be on TV more, so more people can recognize what she's done over the past couple months. And Willow, man, when she actually wins a title, that pop for her is going to be through the roof. So yeah, I'm all in on those two. Run that back again, please. You can even run it back.
I didn't like that match was because it's like she's going to win the title someday. And it's like I didn't feel like the second episode of Ring of Honor we need to put Willow right in the title picture.
That could be debated, and I hear that, but from everything I saw, yeah, I want it ran back. So I went off the board. I know there's definitely options out there, and I'm curious to hear what you guys say that were, I don't want to say more deserving, but I felt for me personally, I really enjoyed everything about that match. And so if they want to run it back at Supercard of Honor, by all means run it back, because I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Anytime they put those two in the ring.
I'm mad I missed it. It comes Thursday, I'm just like, this is my break day, and I totally forget they added Ring of Honor to the schedule. Yeah, it is. I got to get used to it because Thursday's an off day. Yeah. And that's what you're looking forward to. It's like work.
Yeah, so if you have
2-hour shows, that's a lot to add in on your week on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I thought initially whenever I said it, Jay, I saw your head cocked back, and I'm like, oh, this dude is about to shit on this match, but it's because you didn't watch it.
So. I didn't watch it. No.
All right,
I'm never on the Willow match now.
Yeah, go seek that out because it was definitely one of the better matches of the week for sure across all promotions, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely still want to see Athena heel because I haven't seen her on TV heel yet. So
her promo last week on the first episode was good, and it was for that reason it was nice to see it on TV.
Okay,
instead of just being on a dark or an elevation. That
exactly.
Mm-hmm. I know there's an audience, but is it that big of an audience that everybody's catching up?
Yeah, and we'll see. Rumors are, Warner Brothers wants more content out of AEW besides the All Access show that we're getting. So, maybe this ROH can actually get put on a platform besides just Ring of Honor Club streaming online for $9.99 a month. So we'll see what comes down the road for that. But yeah, I'm very pleased with what I've seen so far from the 2 episodes in Ring of Honor. I know it's going to take time. The only thing that I wish, and I hope we get there sooner rather than later, is that we actually get separate rosters.
Yes.
I don't need crossover on each show with certain individuals every single week.
Because Willow came out on Dynamite this week. So
Yes.
Claudio and Willer Yuta, like
Where's Takeshita?
Takeshita was both.
Oh, yeah, he was on Rampage last night.
He was on Rampage. You had Mark Briscoe come out on Rampage last night. So like
to make a Ring of Honor announcement.
Which is smart though, because you don't have
the TV to do.
You don't have the TV to do it. So I get those instances, right? But the wrestlers that are going to be wrestling, I don't need crossover between the brands.
No, especially because they're technically not under one roof together. So yeah, it's like I don't need them.
Right, you're billing it as two separate entities.
Yeah.
So keep the roster separate. And it's not going to be right now, obviously, because you got to, shake things out, see who fits best where, what stories you want to go with, and everything else. But they definitely have the roster size to split it up, and maybe make it like an eventual crossover event once a year to add on like TBS for a Wednesday night special that they do.
Because they even did that. I mean, with the match announcement last night for the tag titles, the first team is Lucha Brothers. So they're going to be in a Ring of Honor match for the Ring of Honor tag titles. It's like, I get it. They already said going into this event that it was going to be like an all hands on deck pay-per-view because of WrestleMania weekend. So I can get that. Smart. But yeah, you got a lot of shows to compete with. You have to draw eyes and make yourself stand out somewhere, because there's a lot of other shows that are already standing out as far as if I'm paying money WrestleMania weekend and I'm there live, what I'm going to. My choices right now are, I already have one that's number one on the list, but like I said, I'm going to save it for another week or two once the card's finalized. But yeah, there's some tough competition out there to get eyes on your product that weekend. So all hands on deck is good, but after that, let's actually try to get into like a Ring of Honor roster and an AEW roster. Yeah.
Yep.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Hey, Wale Mania has been, I mean,
this 10?
This is 10, so it's going to be, I got a feeling he's going to try to put something huge on. Pause. But, yeah. And that's crazy that it's 10 already.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Chris. What you want to say?
No, I was just going to say, I don't even, like, both WrestleManias we went to, I don't even remember anybody ever talking about it. Like, that's going on this long.
Yeah. For my Mount Rushmore, I might as well go to the top. Main event Jey Uso on Monday and yesterday.
It does not take.
I just liked everything about it.
The storytelling is so good, and it's been so compelling for so long that even when you see it coming, you still pop. Like Monday night when he walked out of the ring and left Jimmy there and then goes down and stands next to Sammy and he gives him the hug, immediately I thought, okay, here comes the turn.
Yes.
So he gave himself that distance, and you could tell.
Right.
I was telling Jason that too. I was like, the distance between them, I was like, something's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Something's coming.
You're like, that super kick.
Yes.
You can always catch the turn look on TV when they're about to, or the camera catches the eye. Yeah. So they know they're in communication. That's the one thing I hate.
And even though I saw it coming, it still crushed me. Like, that's how good it's been. Like, I was still just as upset as everybody in that arena. The pop that crowd gave them whenever Jey hugged Sammy was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What Jey said last night. What would you do?
And I love Jay's promo from last night, flipping it. Let me ask you a question. What would you do? And then he ran off examples.
Yes.
If your family member needed groceries, what would you do? If their lights were about to get cut off, what would you do? Like, it's a very compelling argument, and
hits home.
Clearly understand why he did what he did. The only thing I wish he would have done differently, and this is just the way that I want to see the story go, because I'm more sold on Jay being the one to take the belt off of Roman than Cody right now. But I wish Jay, instead of saying the one person I blame is you, Sammy, I wish he would have said the one person I blame is you, Roman.
I was thinking the same thing last night whenever I was watching it.
Because he called out Roman in the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Where's the tribal chief?
Mm-hmm. I'm here.
I'm here. And I'm like, oh, this is, let's go.
And Heyman couldn't even talk.
Right. Left Heyman speechless.
So I'm the mark that missed it live because they put that terrible Bailey segment on before, Bailey and Lita, and I passed out. So I found it on Facebook. So it ruined the whole surprise for me. But I don't know whatever Jay is going through right now. I don't know whatever Jay is going through right now.
Cody's dressed like he's the head of the Narcos ring.
Couldn't get his shirt off last night.
Yeah,
the cuff still on it over his watch.
I don't know whatever Jay is going through right now, or if he's just getting no sleep. But like just looking at him, it just looks like the whole decision just weighed on him.
Which is
like you could tell by his face, and that's just
which is good.
That just adds to it. Yes.
Like anybody that has gone through any type of family strife or beef can clearly look at Jay and go, "Oh, I've been in his shoes before. He's not getting no sleep. He's not eating. He's pacing around the house at 3 a.m. Like." It is wearing on him emotionally and physically. And you can see that. And that's why, like, as much as Sammy has been the MVP of this Bloodline storyline, Jay really has been the engine that's driven it. Yeah. And, like,
literally since day one.
Since day one. Like, I mean, you go all the way back to whenever him and Roman first fought. Like, he's been the engine that's literally started this incredible story that is arguably one of the best in pro wrestling. Tease for later on in this segment. So yeah, Jay Bloodline. I'm not going to argue with that, Donald, but I can't pick the Bloodline every single week. Like,
yeah, I know. I just wish like
I want to. Yeah,
I just wish for me that Jay and Sammy would have stayed cool for at least just 1 week, just to get the fans like even in more like, yeah, they're together, and then next week pull the trigger on it.
Sure, and that's the part where you're running out of weeks because
it's coming up.
You would think Cody and Sammy are teaming up to take on the Usos.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you
see the Monday Night Raw spot
with Cody and KO in the background. Yeah. So they were obviously talking about something, and I like how Raw's doing that lately with their backstage segments. They have the focus of the person that they're talking to and interviewing, but in the background, there's always somebody else that's
that Easter egg.
a little nugget sprinkled in, right? Like we saw Damage Control 1 week in the background. So like they're doing a nice job of delivering Easter eggs and putting stuff out there to make you pay attention to those segments even more. So yeah, Bloodline, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, Donald.
Mine is Jabroni and Mount Rushmore all in one. Mount Rushmore.
The same person is your Jabroni and Mount Rushmore?
It's the whole thing encompassing.
Okay.
One is for the AEW fans who are finally calling out, like criticizing their product in droves. Kudos, because that's where you get change. It gets better. The booking of, or it goes to Will Hobbs. But then the Jabroni is the booking of the match and the booking of the title all together. All in one goes on Jabroni. It's all encompassing.
I don't know if those were veneers on QT or if he got that LED teeth whitening. You put him under a black light, that's all you're gonna see.
And he's white, Taekwon. Like, that's amazing.
Who's white? QT?
Yeah.
I didn't know what he was. I'm happy for Hobbs, and I want to see where it goes. But then you paired him with QT, and
well, I don't know if they necessarily paired him with QT. Like, I did, as much as I hated the ending to that match this week and the shenanigans, I thought commentary did a great job. And this is only if you were at home watching it. If you were there live, you booed the shit out of it, right? But commentary did a tremendous job of retelling the story of QT being good on his word and giving the favor back to Hobbs. So I hope that they don't pair them up together, right? Like,
I was hearing talks in faction what they don't need
that. But I did. It made sense from that standpoint that, okay, QT cashed in the chip and got the, pay back the favor. He's all square with Hobbs now. But I don't need Hobbs' first single titles championship win to be on some bullshit.
Yeah,
Hobbs or QT is the robber. They said that they'll unveil that this week. I don't remember where they said that on Rampage last night. You might have missed that, Steve. That could have been a little bit later. But yeah, they did a backstage segment and they were together and they said you'll find out more this week on the debut of QTV. So
and I was actually enjoying the match until then.
Yeah, it was everything that a beef on beef hot fight was. Like, it's
no selling moves.
Locked and loaded on that, right? Like, you have
literally, it sounds like.
Well, not literally, but you got a freaking swanton dive off the top rope from Wardlow through a table.
Through a table outside.
We don't need. You were right, Jay. That was the first time where even the AEW diehards were blasted them on social media. Like,
and here you go. You got to build Wardlow up back again. Falls in my jabroni.
I saw that tweet from QT going after. I don't know if it was a fan or somebody else, but trashing them for Wardlow being the hottest guy in the industry to now just being completely Thanos snapped irrelevant.
Yeah.
And QT was like something along the, I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of, well, clearly you don't understand the inner workings and backstage stuff of pro wrestling. And not giving this man credit because I know what a troll he is, but Disco Inferno hopped in and like, he called out QT on that bullshit. And when Disco is calling you out on bullshit, like, it's some bullshit, right? Like, so yeah.
I've seen the meme saying how deep, like, the deepest surface of the ocean was, and like even deeper than that is Wardlow's burial.
Steve, that's been a few disco references on the show in 2023. We might have to limit that to a certain number.
Hey, you know how it goes Uncle Dave, and then Disco's right under him. So.
We're not even going to get on Uncle Dave with his star ratings for Revolution. And you want to talk about locked and loaded? My man went through an entire bottle of lotion during that paper.
We might as well, because that's my Mount Rushmore. Uncle Dave's 5 3/4 star match, the Iron Man match between MJF and Bryan Danielson. That's the perfect segue for that. Hey, both men did an incredible job. The match did not feel like an hour. It had its peaks and valleys throughout. I enjoyed it. Whenever I can actually sit there and say a match is fun, and then at the end of the match be on the edge of my seat, that's a good match for me. So I got to give them credit for that one. No, Disco's not that. I think I might need to unfollow Disco on our Twitter page for Steve.
It's all right. He's on my individual Twitter feed. So immediately after the match happened, like I'm like, oh well, that's Mount Rushmore of the week. Like, how could you not one of the greatest Iron Man matches of all time? Like, and that's not being caught up in the moment. Like,
the longest.
I go, you could argue between that, Sean Brett, and then probably Flair and Steamboat, right?
I think Flair
Josh Alex
just won an hour. I don't even think that was an Iron Man.
Yeah, Josh Alexander and TJP a couple of years ago at Impact did an hour that was up there with match of the year contention. So I thought the storytelling was perfect during the match. Danielson no selling the cardio, MJF constantly going to drink water and like trying to get himself through it. The ending, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. It's in a draw. Who said it was going to be in a draw? Oh, the dumb Mark said that it was going to be in a draw. Who said there was going to be shenanigans and MJF win? Oh, the dumb Mark said there was going to be shenanigans and MJF win. Like, Carmelo Hayes can say when he shoots, he don't miss. We don't miss on this show.
We all had different endings to the match.
Yeah, but it all the same.
Yeah, we could go out there and share the Booker of the Year award. Like,
Definitely.
Like, no, but it was just it was everything. It was everything that I was hoping it would be for a main event to close out the show based off of where each guy is at in their career and where each guy's going. I thought the follow-up on Wednesday night was really good from both of them. Danielson with the whole "it's time for me to go home," like
play that up.
Crushed, MJF no selling the fact that he used an oxygen tank to actually win the match, and just saying that he beat him clean in the ring is such a heel move. Like,
MJF.
Yeah, it was all the way around tremendous.
One thing I'm kind of the one reason why I differ on that is I did like the follow-up, but I'm getting a little tired in wrestling because this isn't just an AEW thing, it's a WWE thing too, where we have an event and the follow-up is until a week later. So it's like the past couple of events with MJF, he wins something and then he doesn't show up until the week after. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's the follow-up show for a reason, to follow up, see what happened, get the reaction. And WWE's done the same thing with Roman. They don't have Roman come on SmackDown that week for the follow-up. He comes the week after and acts like it's the same week. Mm-hmm. It's just like,
peasant. You peasant. You think MJF is going to grace us with his presence each and every single week? He said that.
I don't need him on every week, but like
so at least a follow-up.
Yeah, he's coming upcoming week. So like they're following that, just like, but you're normally supposed to get the ratings bumped from the pay-per-view the week after, not the week after the pay-per-view.
But you saw him on the show. He just wasn't there live.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed Bryan's segment more than I enjoyed MJF's because I did. It just to me, it's just like it's gonna explain his time off now.
Yeah, but it's hard not to put that on the Mount Rushmore. When you have arguably the greatest Iron Man match in the history of pro wrestling. So sidebar real quick. Dynamite as a whole, thumbs up, thumbs down, in the middle?
In the middle-ish, I'd say.
I say in the middle.
In the middle, because Jericho and Moxley cuts off half mine.
That Moxley, the whole Moxley stuff is.
Yeah, it wasn't a follow-up to a pay-per-view show.
Well, it felt like they were trying to do the hard reset after a pay-per-view, right? Where like you do a lot of interviews in the ring, backstage stuff, kind of teasing new storylines and all that.
I'd say in the middle, but it fell more flat than enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Certain things like I really like Ruby's promo on Wednesday.
Yes, I do.
I thought that was her best outing. Logical, made sense, like heartfelt. You could She was believable. Like, I still don't know where this originals versus outsiders angle is going, or who's gonna eventually be in, because we got to get a 5-on-5 at some point, or a 4-on-4 at some point. Like,
I saw that
that's where it's going.
I saw they had named the match, or the name of the group. I think it might be the Outcasts.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, but it's just like kind of what you were saying, Steve. It felt very outsiders-ish.
Mm.
Yeah,
Got to be better.
Yeah. Any other honorable mentions that you guys had besides what we brought up for a potential Mount Rushmore from the week that was?
Jason's favorite. I was going to say Seth Rollins. I know Jason enjoyed the hell out of that segment on Monday.
It was Monday. I can't remember. We got knocked out.
Just took over with the singing.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Calling Logan out, I enjoyed all that. Yeah.
I had go ahead.
No, you're good, Donald. Go ahead.
Another one that I had, my second one was Roxanne and Mako, their whole title fight. I enjoyed that.
That was good.
What do you think of Shawn Michaels just booking all of his career-ending storylines for NXT stars?
Let's run
He
it.
has so many stories. He has so many stories. Why not?
Definitely interested in seeing where they go with this being so close to an event.
I enjoyed the match. It was just that I feel she needs that heel. Like, it was weird running face and face because you're going to have a split crowd. And then my other thing is, if you make Core that heel, it's going to be another split situation. I know they're running Stratton next week or coming up soon, but they might have to throw Zoe in there to get her something over.
The other thing I'll say about this, and this ties back into my jabroni of the week last week, you didn't see anybody in WWE come out and say, "Oh, it's storyline."
Yes.
They left it up there for you to believe whether or not it was or wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at the time when she collapsed, it was okay. Like, she really might be like, and I thought back, like, did I miss something? Like, I'm like right back in my head, like, did I not see something? Like, what really happened? And then I thought Booker, the way he sold it on commentary,
Pretty good, yeah.
because Roxanne is that's his girl, like protege, right? So, like, and then him getting up and taking off the headset and getting in the ring, like, the only thing that I thought made it go, okay, this is a work, is whenever Shawn comes out and he's putting the oxygen mask over her face and is fumbling around with it. I'm like, okay, no, we're not. Yeah,
I thought she was gonna get the thumbs up when she rode out. I was expecting it.
Because whenever they took her out through the door, that's when Shawn should turn to the camera and be like, "It's all storyline."
He better not come out in a couple weeks and give the title back and be like, "I lost my smile." Right?
Yeah, that's great. That is great. Yeah, so
I think they all have to be down there. They're short staffed. They all have to have it.
he got his MD from the University of Phoenix. Did his residency there. Yeah, I mean, NXT. Well, let's just get into this because this wasn't necessarily my jabroni of the week, but I guess I'll make it my jabroni from pro wrestling. I have another jabroni outside of pro wrestling that had me furious, but my jabroni of this week in pro wrestling was Braun and Carmelo. I thought instead of Braun Breaker rising up on the microphone to be on Carmelo's level, I thought Carmelo sunk hard. Pause. To be on Braun's level. Like that segment was absolutely horrible. It did nothing to make me interested in seeing them to wrestle, even though this is the big matchup that we've been waiting for in NXT. If you follow it, I have no idea where they go from here, but I was very shocked and surprised that Mello looked as bad as he did on the microphone in a segment with Braun on Tuesday night.
I don't know what Carmelo Hayes is. I don't know if that's his real name or what his real name is. But to me, he wasn't Carmelo Hayes in that segment. He was himself. And that was the problem.
I mean, everything, like, just like the wording, the cadence, the back and forth, like, it literally felt like
what Braun said, too.
Yeah. No flow.
But that was the first time in a long time where I looked at that segment and I went, oh, this is like the beginning of NXT 2.0, where you have two green people out there memorizing their stuff and going out there and being super scripted back and forth. Now, whether or not that's because Braun can't improvise or what, I have no idea. But it felt like those two gave their first ever promo in promo school at the PC this week.
That felt like they were coming man to man, but not on the grand stage. Like, hey, let me talk to you off to the side real quick.
It was like man to man, but we're gonna wrestle in a flea market parking lot.
Carmelo the Rex, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I that was so terrible, and just completely took me out of any interest in seeing them two actually wrestle. So it's definitely time for Braun to give up the belt. Like, you want to talk about a stock that has fallen? I don't think he's done anything to be as hot as he was whenever they were talking about calling him up in August.
Yeah.
A year after being on the NXT roster, to giving him a main roster.
Continue to show weaknesses. More weakness than positives.
He needs a heel run.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. He does.
Maybe this could be where you flip him. Because if Carmelo's taking the belt, flip him, give Braun a brief heel run. That'd be it.
This is where I always go back to Paul Heyman's thing for ECW. Show your strengths, hide your weaknesses. And that's what NXT needs to focus on a lot. Instead of trying to get them to go out there and try everything, yes, it's developmental, but it's on a national stage, so it's not traditional developmental. So they need to reel it in a little bit better. You can already tell that they've gotten away from that 6-month thing because of how long they've kept some of the talent in NXT, because they need that room to grow. It's not 6 months isn't enough.
Yeah. Jabroni of the week for you guys. I know Jay, you already gave yours.
I'll go with mine. My Jabroni of the week was from AEW this week. Whenever Ricky Starks was in the ring and you see the Bullet Club graphic go up, I was like, oh, what are we going to see here? Like, this is going to be pretty exciting. Then out comes Juice Robinson. And the first thing I thought of was the quote from the movie of, "We wasted the good surprise on you." And I was just like, no. Like, this is not a match I'm interested in seeing. I think it's going to lead to something else, but
who were you expecting when the Bullet Club music and graphic hit?
Honestly, nobody popped into my mind. It was just like I was just interested in seeing who was going to come out.
Because everybody online was like, "Oh, that's Jay White," and it's like, "Hey, dumbasses, are you not paying attention to the storyline that's going on? Jay White's out of the Bullet Club.
Yeah,
he's not there no more." Like, did you not watch the last month of New Japan? Like,
I was expecting somebody from Impact.
Like a Chris Bay or a Ace.
I don't mind.
Honestly, either of those two I would have been happier with.
That's the first one I thought of was Bay.
I don't mind Juice because you're giving him something to do, but I forgot Juice was even in the Bullet Club.
I did too.
Because he hasn't referenced it since he came over to AEW.
Starks just came off of a big win, and you just said it. You're giving Juice Robinson to him just for Juice to have something to do. It's like.
And then when he said where I'm going, when they brought
right,
that
piqued my curious. I'm like, where? He said that's not, it's where I'm going, and I'm like, where are you going? Now I don't know if you caught the press conference after Revolution because it was 2 hours long and the show ended at midnight, so I didn't watch it live. Wow. That could be a jabroni. That could be a jabroni of the week.
Early morning, you doing a press conference
after already having 5 hours of a show.
But if you go back and watch that on YouTube, Starks referenced Cody in his press conference with TK sitting next to him, and Tony Khan did not look very happy. So maybe this was punishment for Starks bringing up the person that shall not be named.
I mean, Cody didn't bring up Starks on TV, but Cody brought up Starks in interviews this week. So talking about that's one of his kids in a way, and Starks was there at the Rumble too, behind the scenes. So
yeah, and Starks getting caught was tremendous. That tweet. When did they bring CTV back?
He's going to ROH.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, having a 2-hour press conference after your show that ends at midnight on a Sunday is kind of ridiculous.
It doesn't even matter what the day is. Just 2 hours after a 5-hour pay-per-view does not need to be. Triple H has been doing that better. I think he does like half-hour tops.
Yeah, they get two or three questions per person, and off you go, and then he comes out and closes it out. So, I mean, they all stole the format off of New Japan, but
I can't say I've ever watched a New Japan one, so I don't even know what the time on those.
New Japan ones are half the time those are better than the show itself.
Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're saying with the actions afterwards.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna sit there.
Yeah, you get them out there, and they're just a grueling 30-minute match, and then they're out there in the back cussing people out and calling everybody out. Like it's tremendous.
It is. They're starting a storyline right there.
Yeah. Every video package they do shows something from a press
conference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jason said my jabroni of the week, the whole QT Hobbs thing, but I had another one. Almost beating Dolph Ziggler in 15 seconds. I'm just like, yeah, I know you're trying to get almost over, but damn, Dolph Ziggler, like, you talk about a star that fell off the face of the earth. 15 seconds.
And during that match, they're still trying to play up this storyline between him and Ali.
It's just like,
no expectation. Get paid. Tell my jokes on the side.
I was in the middle of working now, and then after I got done with a set, I'm like, damn, match over with?
I didn't save it, but I found someone's rant, and I'm sarcastic, but this was not sarcasm to me, the way they laid this out. Someone literally was talking about how they feel that Almost is the next guy to be groomed to face Cody at SummerSlam, because they were like, Almost is better than Taker in every way, every athletic way. I was like right there, that comparison is just like, no, throw it out the window. I wish I would have saved it just to throw the person under the bus for.
They already got the main event match set for SummerSlam already.
Yeah.
Well, if you believe the other tea leaves and rumors and innuendo that went out about a rumored SummerSlam match, I don't know if I'd rather see the other rumored SummerSlam match to be the main event instead of Almost and Cody.
I didn't even see anything else.
I don't even want to know. I just want to wait till it happens.
I'm not, because and the person got called out on it too that was putting it out there, because it's like, all right, you want to give spoilers, but there's a point where like at some point in time you got to keep some stuff tight-lipped.
It's storyline, that's why, Dave.
No, not at all. And that whole build that they gave in the little preview of Raw on Monday night on SmackDown last night, where Brock Lesnar faces off with Almost in the Clash of the Titans. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is not Godzilla versus Kong.
No.
Okay? This is not it.
Is this going to be the Cinnamon Toast Crunch match at WrestleMania? Because It's my bathroom break right now.
Your bathroom break might be longer than the match.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh man.
Before we get into the game this week, my last jabroni of the week, like I said, it's outside of pro wrestling, and this is when people need like a hard smack. Like if you were allowed to smack coworkers or like make something legal, like this is where this person, team, creative, advertising, marketing department, everybody needs fired. Okay. We got some chubby guys on this show. We all like ice cream, right? There is a ice cream that is coming out. It'll be in your Walmart stores as of yesterday.
Not getting it.
Anybody want to take a guess at the flavor of this ice cream?
I saw it.
Flaming hot.
I didn't see anything.
Hidden Valley Ranch. Hidden Valley Ranch.
That's not even the best ranch.
Ranch ice cream?
Ranch ice
Yes.
cream.
Ranch dressing ice cream is my jabroni of the week. Don't say no.
Stop
Don't
it.
even
Stop
try to justify that.
No. Put your hand down. Put your hand down. Sit on. Sit on.
It's not going to work as an ice cream, but it'll work as a baking agent.
You bake ice cream?
You can make written ice cream, or you mix it in with stuff.
What the hell are you talking about right now?
What you baking ice cream in?
You can turn ice cream into bread. You didn't know that?
All right, moving on to the game. Everybody involved in that Hidden Valley Ranch ice cream needs fired. You should not be allowed to work in advertising, marketing, anything to do with product development. You should just find a new career, computer coding somewhere, because there's no way in hell that should even be on the shelves anywhere.
I didn't look it up because I didn't really want to. I don't know if it's the same company that did the Kraft mac and cheese ice cream or not, because apparently that company just wants to watch the world burn. So ridiculous.
No, we are not doing with some wings though.
Some wings.
Hey, no, this is not. You take your French fry and dip it in a Frosty. This is not happening. Like,
you even made there. You go.
No.
You even making hints for it.
Mouth burning, either some wings and you get a scoop of it. No, you got this is yeah, Pro. If you want to come on the show next week to take his place, you got a 1 week shadow ban. Ice cream debate. He is a wizard.
I've never heard of that. I never did.
Man, that only makes PB&J talking about ice cream gets used to make bread.
Make it to a cake.
Most cooking Jason's done is shake up a packet of Crystal Light into some water, and this dude wants to talk about he's going to turn ice cream into bread.
Yeah, we're going to get that on video. That's some content for later.
Mark's cooking show with Jason. Unbelievable.
Hey, he made the bacon wrapped Oreos. Didn't share, but he made them.
Didn't share, yeah. No, that's okay. I'm okay with bacon wrap.
I'm gonna go with a tub and 4 spoons.
That's right.
He got an A in chemistry. He's out here. All right, let's get off this subject. I can't believe yous are back in this. This is unbelievable.
Real quick before we jump into the game, Ray.
No, he's not president.
Yeah. I have the worst and the greatest taste.
The greatest of all time. The first active wrestler to be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame, Rey Mysterio. Chris, you had to be over the moon last night with this announcement.
Give us your take.
Hey, Ric Flair was the first active wrestler to be inducted.
No, listen, you never let a lie get in the way of a good story, so I'm sticking to
it. So you want to keep running that line, keep going, but
absolutely.
Now he might be the first wrestler to be inducted in the Hall of Fame and continue wrestling. That could be.
Yeah, both their names start with J. That's about the only comparison between Keith and Jason.
Hey, listen, I may shit on Rey Mysterio, but the man is deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. I can't shit on him for that. So
I was expecting this to be in Mount Rushmore. I was
So this week I actually had two people ask me if I wanted to go to SmackDown, and I was like, no, I'm good. So they're.
Hey, I was waiting for this out.
And you missed that.
I was waiting for Chris's text. His seats. Look where I'm at, guys.
I was so happy whenever I was just like, yep, I'm glad I didn't go for that one.
So does this lead to this?
Yeah, you think where I'm about to ask is where you're heading to.
Does this actually lead to Dominic versus Ray at WrestleMania and Ray's swan song, an actual retirement match?
I feel like.
Because this seems
I don't know how much time is on his contract, but like if you want to talk about a way to go out, going out at WrestleMania by doing the job to your son, it's like
hey,
it's like a Jerome Bettis walk-off ending,
Super Bowl hometown.
That can't happen. That can't happen.
If you come with the Hitman angle,
why not?
Dom cannot fucking win at WrestleMania.
Now you're a Rey Mysterio defender. This is not.
You want to push the young talent, Chris?
Yeah,
no, not in this case. No,
Chris would like the future.
Two people, Dom and Almost. No.
Even Fandango won at WrestleMania.
I'll bring Fandango back. And win again. He's only on Impact doing nothing, so bring him back.
If this is the route that they're going to get Ray to actually cave in and fight Dom, then I'm on board with it. Because I'm okay with the storyline for the match, but yeah, I don't think there's another storyline that would get me invested into seeing Ray versus Dom. But if they're going to run with this angle, I'd even have Dom come out during his speech at the night before after the Hall of Fame and actually, drop him on stage.
You got to give me the Hitman angle.
Yeah, give me that.
Do the Hitman reenactment. I'm here for it.
Yeah, give me that.
Jason's still wasn't to do it.
I was expecting you to do for Ray.
So last night, the first thing I thought of was because Legado del Fantasma, they've been so integral the past few weeks. The first thing that popped up in my mind was, okay, what are they doing with them into this match, especially after they came out? But then the first thing I thought was, all right, well, I'm here for Mommy.
He's not
the problem. The first thing that popped in my mind was after Shawn and Flair had their match, and then Batista turned on Shawn because he was pissed that Flair retired. I was like, is that going to be where we go with this? Dom and Legado are going to feud now after WrestleMania, but we'll see where that goes. But
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would much rather see Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio because
100%.
That would harken back to like the Rey Psychosis, Rey Juventud, Rey Eddie Guerrero, like that's luchador like heaven right there.
I was even thinking that Rey might even tag Santos in and be like, I'm still not going to fight Dom, but you're the person going in for me. But I don't know if that's where they're heading with this. But
what if this is what if they take the other side of that coin and go down that road, Chris? But you have Rey turn on Santos and him join Dom.
He'll turn right before he retires.
Yeah, Ray's never been a heel.
That'll be interesting. That would be interesting.
One night in Pittsburgh he was.
That don't count.
Got booed out of the building.
That don't count.
And where do they announce his induction? In Pittsburgh.
Tremendous.
Long-term storytelling.
9 years.
But yeah, I mean, I get what I'm trying to say is that I'm open to see where this goes. because I do, everything that Dom has done since he went to jail has been tremendous, right? Like character-wise, it's been amazing. The outside, holiday skit stuff that him and Rhea have done with Ray and the family has been tremendous. Like, so if this is how it's going to lead to them actually wrestling, at WrestleMania, whenever you just have, your smorgasbord of matches and match types and bring back stars and everything else for moments, that's a moment that I would want to see. They won the belts as a tag team at Mania, didn't they? Right? Father-son, was that at Mania or was that on a SmackDown?
That was that was a week before Father's Day.
Okay. So
yeah,
after
right.
Mania.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, why not have it at Mania?
We might have to have a discussion. We're going into the weeds here today, but might need to have a discussion about Judgment Day and their future plans at some point. Maybe during our WrestleMania prediction show.
All right. Let's bring up the game this week. We got another debate this week, and it ties into the current times based on what's going on right now. So I can't take credit for this. I did see this on Twitter, and I pulled from it, and I switched up. I added a fourth one that wasn't on here. But your best long-term storyline that was a year or longer in pro wrestling. So
what was the one you added?
Currently going on, Savage Hogan.
Okay.
Bloodline, Sting versus Hogan, Savage versus Hogan, and Triple H versus Batista. Which is your best long-term year-plus storyline?
To me, this is number one. Bloodline is number one because this is where the storyline is like. To me, this feels like the storyline are more important than the matches. You're just going. I'm just going along for the storyline alone.
So you don't even you have no interest in the payoff. You just are there because the story's that.
Hold up.
I want the payoff.
Wait up, when this podcast started, you just cared about the matches and not the story.
I know. Remember? Oh, but I can still watch matches. Yeah. I can still watch matches, but this storyline right here, just give me this. Give me a soap opera right here. Cut out the matches.
So Dave, the reason, and again, I didn't create this list. Bloodline was included in the list that I borrowed, stole everything in pro wrestling stolen. So even though the Bloodline storyline's going on, it's been 2.5 years. Like you gotta include it on any list, and maybe prisoner of the moment, okay, but I think it's been told so well over the 2.5 years that it's been going on that it deserves to be in the discussion as is right now, no matter how it ends. So whether or not it ends in a couple weeks.
So the only one on here that I got take off for me, and it's not because it's not a good storyline, is because I didn't watch it unfold whenever it was on. I only know the history of it and video packages, and that's Savage versus Hogan. I wasn't a fan at that time. I didn't start till WrestleMania 6, so I didn't see that develop week in and week out. I just know the story years later. So
the mega powers explode.
Exactly.
Pause. That's what she said.
You got lust in your eyes for Elizabeth?
Yeah, you got lust in your eyes for Elizabeth.
For me, it's Sting and Hogan is number one on here. Best story. Because you guys know me in the Bloodline. I haven't enjoyed the Bloodline story since Survivor Series. Yeah, that's whenever it kicked off for me. So.
And Sting and Hogan arguably had the worst payoff of
the
The match did not live up to the hype of the story that was told.
Talk about an ending of a match that just shit the bed.
The buildup was so good. Because Sting
creative control, brother. Creative control.
Week in and week out. Woo.
Yep. One person didn't say a single word the whole time.
And millions of people
compelling. Like you had to watch Nitro during that time. Like fans are so gypped nowadays because they don't have that. But to know that you can't change the channel because if you missed what happened,
you don't get to see it.
You didn't know when it was going to happen during the show. Which kudos to Bischoff and them.
I said this to Donald the other day. I miss the days with my TV and picture, just having one and the other one down there, and just be like, okay, got to flip to the other one now.
Yeah, like to not know that hey, the fourth segment of every Nitro, Sting and Hogan are going to do something, a la the women in AEW. You had to tune in from start to finish because you never knew when it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And just everything about it was tremendous. The character switch for Sting was just tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's prime wrestling years for me. That just, I'm not going to be mad at you for putting that number one on your list.
And I know during those Monday Night Wars, this is before DVR. I had 2 VCRs, one upstairs in my room and one downstairs, and I had to tape both of them. So I was flipping back and forth, but I had both tapes so I could go back and watch, if there was something I did miss while watching the other one.
Oh, you was rich. You had 2 VCRs with 2 TVs going. I was in my bedroom on my little 13-inch TV.
Exactly. Yes, it was.
Like, they don't even make 13-inch TVs no more.
13-inch tube TV.
13-inch TV weighed 25 pounds.
Yeah. For me, my favorite storyline that was a year or longer had to been Hogan Savage. I was watching wrestling by that time. I mean, I was a Hogan fan, but whenever Savage turned on Hogan, I became the ultimate Savage fan. I was believing everything Savage was saying. He had lust in his eyes for Elizabeth. Whatever Savage was spitting out, I was believing. I was the cult follower of that. From that point on, I hated Hogan for everything he did. He broke up the Mega Powers to me. It's still real to me, damn it. I did not like that result at WrestleMania 5. I was so mad. I was crying in my dad's arms like, that's not fair. That's not fair.
And also, Bloodline's going on in the era of where we know it now that it's not real. Hogan Savage, that was like
kayfabe at his best.
Yeah.
I mean, Triple H
and behind the scenes some stuff was going on.
Triple H and Batista was kind of during like the onion was peeled back, but not all the layers were revealed yet, right? So, like, even with that, they still had you. I think, like you said, Jay, to give a bonus point to the Bloodline storyline is the fact that it is going on now in this era where everybody is an expert, everybody knows everything. Hell, AEW is doing an all-access show to show you everything behind the scenes and everything else, right?
For the first time ever, behind the scenes in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But Total Divas was on the show 10 years ago.
I am curious to see where that show goes because I want to see what the different spin is going to be and if they really are going to like just completely destroy kayfabe like Tony Khan did with his announcement of it's storyline Eddie Kingston. Yeah. So yeah, Bloodline would get a bonus for that given the era that it's going on in. From a true fan perspective, Savage Hogan, like I was such a Hulkamaniac back then. It wasn't even funny. Like, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, like all of it, right? And then Savage just the distaste, the hate, like having hate for somebody as like a 6-year-old is unbelievable. But I hated Savage. So from a fan perspective, that's probably my number one on the list. From a straight fan perspective,
Taquan.
Always. It's always his fault, Taquan. Always. But I feel I have to knock Sting versus Hogan because of the match, the ending, the payoff was just such a letdown. It was such a wet fart in church. It was unbelievable. So for me, all things considered, I'm going to put the Bloodline at number one. The bonus points for the era that it's going on in, the fact that it's been not just 1 year, they've gone almost 3 years with this storyline, which I think
Bloodline's the group that you added to this list.
No, I didn't. Bloodline was on here because I thought it was the whole. whenever I saw the tweet with it on here, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I started looking at it. I'm like, well, we got storylines from all different eras, right? So, and they're all very compelling. They're all very good. They're all very well done. It's just a matter of when did you start watching wrestling? I feel would kind of sway your vote as far as which storyline you felt was the best.
I'd also like to know what they're referencing for Triple H and Batista, because I don't know if they actually had like a full year or more like in their main story. Like over time, yes, like I get that, but like the main feud definitely wasn't a year.
Well, and that was a shameless plug for their rivalry on A&E, trying to get a sponsorship. No, but yeah, like I mean, you could, there's been storylines that I think are better than Triple H and Batista. Like you go Dusty and Four Horsemen, but that wasn't like a year plus build. Like so, but I'll put the Bloodline number one.
I feel like I'm not giving Hogan as much credit as he deserved because I hated NWO so much that I didn't even care. It was like a legit hate.
Well, that's the other thing. Like we shit on brother right now, but Hogan is legitimately on this list, and it's a legitimate list. Like it's not. Those are two amazing stories that happened in pro wrestling. Like you could have went with Undertaker and Kane, but I don't think that was a year long.
Off and on, yeah.
Off and on. I mean, same with Shawn and Brett. You could go off and on for more than a year, but
would you put Hangman in Omega?
Omega. If I'm just looking at these,
falls, in the time frame, but
if I'm looking at these four, the only one that I would argue Hangman and Omega against to be on the list, and I'd have to like really go back and study both, would be the Triple H and Batista. I don't think Hangman Omega boots any of the other three off.
I don't even think it would be Triple H and Batista. That was their trilogy that they had, from WrestleMania through I think it was like Hell in a Cell was a good trilogy.
So, but yeah, hit us up on social media. Let us know which storyline 1 year or longer is your favorite in pro wrestling history. You can vote on that. And hit us up, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know what we got going on there. All right. Final thoughts?
Let's do it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining episode 126 of the Dumb Marks podcast. If you're watching the screen right now, you can see all our social media where you can find us at Dumb Marks Pod. And make sure you head over to Spotify and subscribe and give us a listen every week whenever the podcast go live every Monday. And we got to plug the merchandise, so head over to prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod to support the show. And if you buy any of the merchandise, we'll give you a live shout out on air. Guys, anything else?
Yeah, my final thought, WWE being in talks with Colorado and Michigan gambling regulators to legalize betting on matches. Thoughts?
I don't know how you pull this off.
No. I heard Colorado has already shot it down, but
they gave a pitch and they said, creative members in that would not know the finishes to matches months in ahead. They would have the ballots locked a la your Oscars or Grammys. I'm okay if you get into the prop betting aspect of it. So if you're going to get on and you're going to say, okay, MJF versus Bryan Danielson, right? Iron Man match. First pinfall, MJF or Danielson. Will it be a submission? Will it be a count out? Will there be an illegal object used? Like, does any man get, a 450 splat? Like, whatever. If you want to do props with betting on it, I can go ahead and get on board with that, a la the Super Bowl, right? Because then you don't base the finish as the primary betting factor, which I don't think you can do in a scripted environment.
No.
That's what the first thing I thought of was Pete Rose. It's like that's what wrestler is going to sit there and start banking on money whenever they're the one to win.
And then how do you things have changed mid-match so many times on the fly. How many times you just keep that locked in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Somebody on the radio said that's like a soap opera being on FanDuel or something like that. Like who's gonna kiss who?
But I would like it if it would stop all the we know what's going on a month in ahead, 2 months in ahead. Like I don't want to know. I don't know who's slated.
If they were to go this route and actually get this legalized in betting, does this end all the careers for every dirt sheet writer?
I hope.
Because absolutely nothing that's leaked out would be true, like at all. Even though you can say that now, but
you can speculate still.
I mean, the creative team's still going to be there, so they're still going to leak shit out.
Mm.
Okay. The other thing that I had final thoughts on pro wrestling, the MLW WWE antitrust lawsuit. We talked about this a couple months ago whenever MLW first filed suit. That case was dismissed. They were allowed 21 days to amend their lawsuit and resubmit it, which they did on March 6th of this week. So I believe Monday of this week they refiled. This is about to get real nasty real quick. Apparently the judge's filings include an allegation of Triple H trying to strong arm Madison Square Garden into not working with Ring of Honor in 2018 on behalf of WWE. We have the reels on Peacock whole thing where MLW, their show won't be shown live because of NBC Universal's deal with WWE. Like, things are getting ready to be real nasty. And it's actually playing out in a legal setting, right? This isn't just fake bullets flying back and forth.
No. The only one that I don't see the argument on is the reels on Peacock. That's the only thing I don't see him having an argument on. Because
what do you mean he doesn't have an argument on that? That's probably one of the main crux of the argument.
He's
being blackballed from getting his show on TV because of WWE.
But WWE already had that agreement in place that they were to be the only exclusive home for wrestling on Peacock. And whenever he signed his deal with Reels, they didn't have this deal in place with Peacock. So it's just kind of can't even think of the wording that I want to use on here, but just kind of a victim of circumstance, I guess, on the situation.
So some of the things that were included in the amended lawsuit, a breakdown of the pro wrestling market shows that WWE controls 92%, AEW 6%, and leaving every other promotion 2%. I brought up the WWE's efforts to block Ring of Honor in 2018 with Madison Square Garden.
We heard that whenever it was going on, so that's accurate.
Yeah. If you want to go through and actually read the filing itself, you can go to PW Insider as well as WrestleNomics. It's 444 pages.
But if you have exclusivity, how can you bring stuff up against that? If it's in your agreement that you're exclusive to us, how does that? I mean, I can see A&E because that was something new. Was A&E?
A&E was
it Vice?
Vice.
It was Vice. I can see Vice because Vice is something new, and maybe they didn't have a exclusivity contract. Yeah. But if it was like you signed something exclusive, what you can do?
I don't blame Court for going down swinging. You know, he feels his company's on its last legs right now, and he wants to put up a fight. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that, but it kind of brings me back to when the Dudley Boys were gonna file their lawsuit against the WWE. It's like, and they were advised, hey, they got a lot of money, and they're gonna make this go as long as it can and make you spend a lot of money, So I don't see it's something that Court's going to win. I applaud him for the effort, and I think there are some things on there that he has legs to stand on, but I don't see anything happening.
But I mean, you got it. So like you really got to look at antitrust laws and everything else.
Yeah.
But like we see this with gaming. Like we saw it with the gaming right now. It's going on right now. They block deals, right? There was another merger between. Who was it? The DOJ stepped in to block another merger between, I think it was like JetBlue and Spirit. Like, we see this in other realms of business. I don't know why wrestling has been excluded from being included like any other business. Like, the monopoly is there. We saw the monopoly.
We're starting to see it a little bit more in streaming, and it's kind of loosening up in the streaming world, because whenever all these companies, like take Disney, they remove their stuff from Netflix because they want exclusivity on their Disney Plus app. Now they're starting to open up again, but yeah, whenever it's content, a lot of these people want exclusivity, and that's the way Vince has always been, for WWE. If NBC Universal owns 10 TV stations, he doesn't want wrestling on any of those things. And that's been from TNA, ECW, WCW, and on. This isn't anything new. Not saying it's right or wrong, but
I can get that if your only argument was the Reels deal, but that's not the only thing that they're bringing to the table in this lawsuit. So
that was just the newest thing added, really.
Right, that was the newest thing added. Yeah. So, and who's to say that when Court signed the deal with Reels to get on their show, to get on their television, that he was aware that Reels was going to join Peacock?
Probably wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if you're signing on to have your show televised on a network, and then that network turns around and
talks to somebody else,
deal with somebody else, where they know that they're the exclusive home of a certain promotion, then I think you would. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it's going to be interesting. This is right up my alley for me, being a legal nerd. To get into the teeth of this and watch how this plays out. I'll be very interested to see. I hope, Chris. Like what you said. I hope it doesn't end MLW from a monetary standpoint to bankrupt them, because we know WWE got money for days.
Something keep you alone.
Yeah,
it's be like, you can watch us through the WWE network on Peacock. Just like Evolved and all that stuff. Yeah, you can watch us.
I mean, Reels came out and they said, they're not. They just briefly discussed the situation, said they're not going to comment on the future of MLW. But honestly, I'd be surprised if they go past their 10-episode agreement.
But even with that, there came out that's not even. Nobody's even sure if that was the true agreement.
Okay.
So even that's like up in the air, in flux. Like nobody's got to
find out in 5 weeks. So.
Yeah, the ruling's not. Yeah, there's no date for the ruling yet on the amended lawsuit. So we'll just keep tabs on it and bring it up and talk about it as more stuff comes to light with it. But I did think it was interesting to see that they refiled, and some of the stuff that they included in the refiling of their lawsuit to, I guess, give them standing as to being able to bring the suit in the first place. So,
interesting.
All right. Anything else?
Real quick, I forgot to bring this up during NXT. Your thoughts on Waller versus Gargano and not Shawn Michaels?
I loved it.
You really think it was going to be Shawn Michaels?
Oh, no, people did. Oh, no. I didn't want it to be Shawn Michaels.
I want to challenge one last time.
When Dragon Lee was shown in the stands, I was just like, oh, is he going to be the one that hops over the guardrail and then gets added to this match? Or
yeah, a lot of people saw that as well. But here's my thing, and we're not going to do this now because this is another topic for another day. Certain people coming back to NXT, you saw the reception that Johnny Gargano got on Tuesday night. He has yet to connect that way on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
You have not heard a crowd get behind him the way that NXT crowd did on Tuesday night. And we need to maybe have a serious discussion about some of these people and whether or not they'd be better suited just being in NXT full time. So we can save that for another day. Little tease there for the future episode. So with that being said, quote of the week this week for some positivity. The 3 C's of life: choices, changes, and chances. You must make the choice to take a chance if you want anything in life to change. You must make the choice to take a chance if you want anything in life to change. And with that being said, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves if you're out for St. Patty's Day festivities. Be responsible, but enjoy yourself. And until next time, I'm a Mark, you're a Mark. Tell the Mark, y'all can catch us around the way.